here on Lopez Island. There's this unspoken, innate language that's connected here. You can smell the salt water, you can feel that in your bones. If you look out across the water, you can see Iceberg Point, where my grandfather collected driftwood to build his first fishing boat. You can walk along the fence lines and touch a post that he set. My first memories took place here on this property, and watching our children be here and automatically be drawn to the same things, I think is incredibly magical, because if you do things right, 3 generations from now, children are going to touch that same fence post to set up our future generations for what's going to be best for the land and best for the environment. I think we have a great responsibility.
I'm Larry Higgins, and I'm a 3rd-generation fisherman. My grandfather started out fishing, running trap tenders in Alaska, and did that for a lot of years. And he ended up on Lopez Island farming the land here, and I'm continuing that tradition, becoming a farmer after I was a fisherman.
My dad is someone I have so much deep respect for, and he was one of my first teachers.
Girls, hold on tight.
Growing up in a fishing family has caused me to really care where my food comes from and how it is sourced. I understand firsthand the work that goes into harvesting salmon and the care that goes into taking care of that salmon. So on the fishing boat, that means we're catching our own food that we can provide ourselves and give to friends, knowing how valuable and how nutritional that is. And then here on Lopez, we get to continue that in different ways, whether we are harvesting a deer to fill our freezer, or gift to friends, or raising grass, which can then feed the cows to also provide such a rich diet. Just knowing that I can be a part and that we can be a part of this food chain that is so beautiful and so close to home, it just feels really special to be a part of that. Watching my dad and husband interact has been an absolute joy for me. They kind of speak the same language.
This could be yours. You're gonna have to treat my daughter good, though, if you want to move this far up into the family hierarchy.
They approach problems and solving problems the same way, probably coming from years on boats where you have to think a certain way to make stuff happen.
My father-in-law, he's a hell of a fisherman. The guy has a stamina that it's like old school. You can tell that it was passed down to him from generations, and I hope that I can take that with me as we keep this place up and keep the fishing business going. There's a lot of pride in the fact that we can go out to our chest freezer and pull Lopez Island beef out of the freezer one night and pull Bristol Bay sockeye out of the freezer the other night for dinner. We think a lot about food as a family. The beef coming off this farm represents a lot of the same principles that we take pride in the fishery. The nets in the barn are the perfect definition of these worlds colliding. These nets are byproducts of years of fishing in Puget Sound in southeast Alaska. The web that was used in those nets was put in the loft, I think under the fairly typical thinking that, oh, I'll put it away because I might need it later. And 50 years later, there's a lot of gear up in the loft. We have an opportunity to do some things with this type of gear that we didn't necessarily have not too long ago with Nicole Baker and Net Your Problem. There's an opportunity to kind of connect the principles and the mission behind Net Your Problem with our principles here, where we're trying to do the right thing and keep things in the circle, in the loop, so to speak. I first met Nicole at the University of Washington School of Fisheries. She's just one of the most go-getting, ambitious people I've ever met. It's just been an amazing friendship with her and journey to watch her take a difficult problem and absolutely turn it into something that is understood by so many different stakeholders in the industry.
Lange had told me about this barn and the fact that there is gear in here from God only knows how many years of different fisheries in different places in Washington, and it just made me think someday we should come up here and figure it all out and get it out of the barn and recycle it.
To me, it's really exciting seeing these nets get recycled. I mean, I've been doing it so long, and starting out, the nets were just thrown in landfills. And even a long time ago, it was my father and myself recognized, well, you can't just go throw nets in a landfill. You can't do it.
I just like to imagine a world in which all this stuff that's in the barn that accumulates over time doesn't have to go into black garbage bags into the ether. And we have to be really honest and just face honest truths about where our stuff goes. And I think we're walking solidly in that direction. We don't have all the answers, but if our girls have the opportunity to recycle basically everything that they need for continuing these sorts of productions and operations, that would be the ideal future.
Iceberg Point, that was where both of our grandparents and great-grandparents, after fishing in the Puget Sound, a big storm would come in and they'd all take refuge behind Iceberg Point in McKay Harbor. When Lange and I met, that was a big part of our conversation and that shared history. And we ended up naming our fishing boat Iceberg Point after this sacred space. This is the place where my daughters learned to feed cows and build rafts and tree houses and run in the woods. My hope is that our children can watch their parents and their grandparents make hard choices to take care of the environment where we are by ways of recycling gear, by ways of harvesting food and fishing sustainably, by ways of just loving the environment around you so they can continue to enjoy these necessary life cycles and food chains that we've been able to engage with and be part of today.
Even though I don't have my own kids, knowing that Freya and Hildy and Farron are gonna be in a better world than we're in now, hopefully by the result of our action. It is a really fulfilling way of making a living and spending my life. When I talk to somebody and explain why they should recycle, why they should spend extra money and time, a switch flips in their mind. That is an incredibly rewarding moment for me that keeps happening, and that's how I'm happy to be spending my time on this planet.